Storms all the way from the Twin Cities down through Des Moines. Some of these are definitely severe thunderstorms capable of producing strong winds. We've been seeing strong winds already, hail, and we did have a tornado warning earlier in Hancock County. Right now that is expired, but we could see some more severe thunderstorms. This is our severe thunderstorm watch. Look at it. It stretches all the way from Des Moines, all the way up through parts of our area, in towards places like Freeborn County, Steele County, Dodge County, Mower County, and most of our North Iowa counties. It does not include Rochester, but Rochester, you're probably talking about this line of storms moving in, and we're probably looking at this line of storms, maybe not severe warned, but still moving through our area in what is likely maybe another hour and a half until that reaches us, or maybe a little bit less from there. This is our feed from meteorologist Ryan Knapp as he continues in parts of Hancock County. He is facing strong winds. He said he saw some hail. You just saw some lightning there. And if we can just show the viewers again where he is. Last we talked to him, he was north of Clemmy, close to Garner. If we could bring that up, I want to continue to show people and have that information for viewers. I know there's a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes, and for me up front here, and for Aaron, who is also manning some of the computer stuff right now, but he's near Garner, Iowa at the moment in Hancock County, dealing with some strong winds. We did have the sirens, a report that the sirens did sound in Garner, which is in Hancock County, and now those strong winds are probably moving towards Ventura, maybe Clear Lake, and maybe Mason City. Ventura, it's probably another 5 minutes. If we could take a look at the radar again closer to Ventura, and then maybe we'll hop off and return to regular programming. I don't want to stay on for too long, but it is important to get this information to people because these severe thunderstorm warnings are strong. So we continue to track parts of our area seeing strong thunderstorms. Garner, we saw those strong winds. That's going to move into Ventura really any second now. Then that's in Clear Lake probably in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depends kind of what side of Clear Lake you're on. As we know, Clear Lake west, it's a very west-east storm. Ryan is now closer to Clear Lake as we've got our latest report from him, so he seems to be driving east from Garner on 18. That's likely where he is. So he's driving closer to Clear Lake. He's probably passing Ventura. Clear Lake, this thunderstorm is going to be in your neck of the woods with strong winds, likely in about 10-ish minutes, but again, it depends on what side of Clear Lake you're on. Eastern side of Clear Lake, maybe just a little bit more than that. Mason City, you're talking about this in your neck of the woods in maybe 15 or 20 minutes with those strong winds. We were seeing an area of rotation earlier. If we could look at the velocity again, and then we'll come back, we'll talk about the severe thunderstorm warning, and then we'll get back to regular programming. But let's just take a look and see if we're seeing any areas of rotation. Maybe some right here that just passed Garner, but you're definitely seeing some strong winds there as well. We're kind of passing between a couple different radar sites at the moment. Right now, these are winds moving away from the radar, and you're definitely seeing some strong winds. This is well high up in the sky, but sometimes, especially when you get these squall lines, it becomes easy for some of these gusts, which are really high up in the sky, to start to mix down a little bit, especially when you have this rear inflow jet right here. There's a bulging on the radar. That radar has this bulge, which it's all this rain and strong winds ahead of that real line of thunderstorms, and this is where we're seeing strong straight line winds capable of 60, 70 mile per hour gusts in this general region right here, and maybe on the north end of this, we could see a little bit of rotation. Yeah, we're kind of just annotating that out, but that is exactly what we're seeing, and I think we might have just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Kind of what I expected. Parts of now Worth County out for again, tornado possible tag on the severe thunderstorm warning. But what you need to be aware of is in places like places like Northwood, in places like Manly, in places along I-35, we are tracking this strong storm moving through. We're going to quickly put it to Ryan Knapp's feed, so if you could take his feed for a brief second. We're going to reset our weather computer just for the time being as it continues to kind of rebuff, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the weather computer, and we want to cool it off for a second. Right now, Ryan Knapp is closer towards Clear Lake. Clear Lake in that severe thunderstorm warning. He has been seeing some crazy stuff over the past half an hour, 45 minutes, almost coming up on an hour now, as we continue to track these severe thunderstorms moving on through with strong winds, a lot of rain. We could use that rain, but unfortunately you don't want it to come down too fast. And also we've been seeing some brief spin-ups on the radar. No confirmed tornado yet, but we did have a tornado warning in parts of Hancock County that moved on through. Terribly ironically, it was there were tornado warning for places like Kanawha, which was hit by a tornado just over a week ago. It wasn't even 2 weeks ago that we were doing this same exact thing around this same time, dealing with severe thunderstorms. Right now, Ryan is closer towards Clear Lake, or in Clear Lake, and he's continuing to track these storms moving on through the region. Let's talk about that severe thunderstorm, which was put out for Worth County and also the eastern part, it looks like, of Winnebago County. It's for places like Lake Mills, Manly, Northwood, Bristol, places here where you need to start being, you need to step inside. You need to really get into your safe spot. Yes, there is no tornado warning. Maybe the sirens aren't sounding. Maybe they are. We had sirens sounding in Garner when there was no tornado warning out for Garner, but I still think that was a good idea because there was some really strong winds moving in there, and we're seeing similar stuff with this bulge, with this area, that rear inflow jet moving what now looks like from Forest City. Now it's going to move through most of Worth County with strong winds, and the National Weather Service is putting a tornado possible tag on this. That means that while we're not seeing maybe a tornado yet, this thunderstorm is behaving in a way where it's easy to imagine that it could spin up a tornado. That's what I mean. So while we're not seeing that yet, there's some rotation right here. It's kind of difficult to see in the velocity. It is really far from all of our radar sites, unfortunately, but it's in this general region where we do have some rotation. And if it's not really being seen by our velocity tracker, which is tracking winds with our radar sites, we are seeing it in just the radar presentation and how this whole thing is very curved. Again, there's this almost little hook that you can see between Lake Mills and Forest City, and that's where somewhere within this region you would probably have some area of rotation. And if there's somewhere there's a tornado, it's probably right here. This is a common thing that actually happens on the north end of some of these, and I'm going to use a big word here, but it's called a mesoscale convective vortex. Sometimes on the north end of these, you can get these brief spin-up tornadoes, which take place of kind of this bubble area, where in our bubble, which if you can imagine is our couple of counties right here, the dynamics become just right to produce a tornado and to produce rotation. On the south side of that bubble, this is moving through now, moving in towards parts of Cerro Gordo County, strong winds and a lot of rain. But those strong winds, I mean, this radar right here, maybe while it's not as crazy strong as perhaps it was last week, it still looks very, very strong, and it looks eerily similar to that bow echo, to that mesoscale convective vortex that we saw move through parts of Cerro Gordo County last week with straight line winds, which still produced damage. Right now we're taking a look at the Mason City live eye as that shelf cloud starts to move closer. Wow, look at that. Things, we could track this in for quite some time, but this is continuing to move on in. So there's a shelf cloud in the distance from our Mason City live eye in the sky in Mason City. This is probably starting to storm pretty good in Clear Lake, as we know, and that's eventually going to move. That's going to continue to move towards the Mason City Airport, continuing down 18, and then maybe you start to talk about it moving in towards places further east, like Rudd, perhaps, or maybe it ends up a little bit further north. That could also be easy to imagine towards places like Manly, where there is that severe thunderstorm warning. So Mason City, an eerie look of that shelf cloud continuing to move towards parts of through Cerro Gordo County. I imagine there's a mean shelf cloud that spans the entire width of Cerro Gordo County actually at the moment, stretching all the way from Thornton, maybe down even towards Hampton, up towards Lake Mills. Lake Mills, this is where there's some rotation kind of in this general region, as we know, and this is going to continue to move a little bit further east, now into parts of Worth County. Southern Worth County, that's where we're probably seeing the strongest winds from this system right here. And that's about to probably move in towards Manly within the next 15 to 20 minutes. You could be talking about gusts 70 miles per hour. That would be really easy to imagine in this general kinematic setup right there. I'm talking really about just the strong winds. So let's take it back and let's talk about the severe thunderstorm warnings. I know I said I wouldn't stay on too long, but we just have a lot going on and we want to be staying on these storms. Right now, let's take it back and take a look at our severe thunderstorm warnings, what we're seeing with them, what our threats are. We have a tornado possible tag on the severe thunderstorm warning in Worth County. So that tells you that while we're not yet seeing a tornado, we are seeing some general rotation. It's fairly easy to imagine that if there is a tornado, you could spawn it around right here, maybe close to Lake Mills, and then we'll continue on into parts maybe of Northwood or closer to Manly with some strong winds, even if there isn't that tornado. Also, Sarasota County, Thornton, Sheffield, Clear Lake, seeing that those strong winds moving in now with that shelf cloud. Mason City, that's moving in to your neck of the woods probably in 5 to 10 minutes. And that's going to continue on towards other parts of the region. Again, so I want to step off screen really briefly and just take a readout of what else the National Weather Service is seeing with this severe thunderstorm warning. So I'm going to take a quick look at that, and I'm going to cue this up, and then we can get you back to regular programming, I think. So let's just take a look. What we're seeing is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with this storm in Sarasota County. This also spans north into parts of Worth County, where we're seeing similar stuff, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and also radar, potential radar-indicated rotation, as we know, in this little hook area, generally right here. This is around Lake Mills, and that region, we could continue to track that moving in towards places like Northwood with potential for very, very strong winds. We did record a 59-mile-per-hour wind gust in Forest City. That's quite strong, and I bet we've seen some stronger ones, but we don't quite know yet. We're only just now getting some stuff really continuing to move on in. So again, Sarasota County, we're dealing with these storms. Worth County, we're dealing with these storms. Severe thunderstorm warning. If you are in Worth County or Sarasota County, you need to be getting into your safe place. If you are ahead of those in places like Mitchell County or Floyd County, you need to be paying attention to these storms and be prepared to get in that safe place. This is not the time to go outside. It is not severe warned in southern Minnesota, but Albert Lea about to see stronger storms moving into that region, and also places in Steele County, Owatonna, these strong storms are going to be moving into your region within the next 10 minutes. This is a live look of Mason City. If we could put up Mason City on the bottom, please, so folks know where this is. Severe thunderstorm warning in Mason City, in Sarasota County. Look at that shelf cloud as it continues to march forward. This is an eerie storm, and it's likely that Sarasota County, especially northern Sarasota County, and even closer to southern Worth County, like Manly, is going to be seeing the strongest winds from these storms. We're rotating it looks like we're rotating that live eye in the sky in Mason City and still seeing some strong storms. Look at that shelf cloud. That's where the winds are rising rapidly ahead of the storm, and just behind that, right here, that's where the winds are rushing 60 miles per hour. We already had the 59-mile-per-hour wind gusts recorded in Forest City. Does not surprise me. I bet we're going to see some stronger ones because it does look like there's quite some real strong winds in these. So right now, we did a little reset. We talked a little bit about where this severe thunderstorm warning is for. Sarasota County, Worth County, get in your safe place. If you are in places like Mitchell County or Floyd County, you need to be paying attention to the forecast. We're going to stay here for the next several hours, continue to track more severe thunderstorm warnings as they could potentially happen in the future. If we have information